Welcome to Celebrating the Collie Standard, a comprehensive presentation by the Collie Club of America, Judges Education Committee.
History of the collie. The derivation of the collie is as obscure as the derivation of its name. One theory of the breed's origins is that it was derived from the same rootstock as the border collie. One theory of the name's origin is that it was derived from a Gaelic word meaning useful, which certainly described the useful farm or stock dogs valued by the Celts who first settled on the British Isles. Although sheep herding and guarding are some of the most ancient of canine services, evidence of the collie dates only from about 1800. Both rough and smooth-coated Scotch collies existed by that time. Smooth-coated litter mates were chosen as drovers, and rough-coated dogs were to stay out with the flock in all weather. As the breed caught the interest of dog fanciers, both rough and smooth-coated collies became taller and more refined. The rough-coated collie was especially influenced by the progeny of a dog named Old Cocky, born in 1867 and thought to be responsible not only for setting type, but also for popularizing the sable color. In 1860, Queen Victoria became enthusiastic about the breed and added her first collie to her kennel. Under her sponsorship, the collie's popularity grew with dog fanciers and the British aristocracy. In that same year of 1860, collies were first exhibited at the Birmingham, England Dog Show in the generic class Scotch sheepdogs. In 1879, the first English collie was imported to this country, from which the American fanciers sought not only their next big winner, but also their foundation stock. The Collie Club of America, Inc. was formed August of 1886, which makes it one of the oldest American specialty clubs in existence. Meanwhile, as sheep herding became more important in America, settlers brought collies with them to the New World. America's social elite brought back fine collies from Europe, and soon the collie could be found in some of the most prestigious estates in America. Later, the collie found a champion in Albert Payson Terhune, who was an American author, dog breeder, and journalist. He wrote many stories about collies which heightened their popularity with people from all walks of life. The most famous collie of all, the movie and television star Lassie, further popularized the breed, helping to make the rough collie one of the all-time favorite breeds in America. As we turn the page on our breed's history, we now look at the present and to the future. The collie is not just a pretty face for the show ring, but an intelligent breed excelling in performance activities such as agility, herding, obedience, and tracking. Form and function. Head. The qualities of the collie head are important due to the function of awareness of surroundings and herding stock. This is a breed of Scotland where the collie is a multitasking animal who is responsible for herding, droving, as well as guardianship of the flock and family. The collie must be aware of its surroundings while performing its job as herder and family guardian. The head shape, eye placement, ear placement all lend to the ability to detect threats in situations. Body. The body of the collie is built for endurance. The function of the collie should be able to cover great distances over various terrains for long periods of time. The body length, angles, lack of cumbersomeness, and tail carriage support a dog that can change direction quickly and roam over great distances. Coat. The collie is a dog originating in Scotland where the weather is often inclement. The function of the double coat on both the rough and smooth collie is to protect the animal against the elements. A coat of proper texture will repel moisture and enable the dog to continue in its function as herder and family guardian. The areas of thickness and heavier frill, particularly in roughs, protect the animal from threats in the areas of the neck, legs, and hindquarters. Temperament. The temperament is important for the collie to be able to function in his job as a herder and family companion. The collie is inquisitive, outgoing, and loving. Poor temperament, such as aggressiveness, sullenness, or timidity, will negatively impact the function of herding and family companion. General character. The collie is a lithe, strong, responsive, active dog, carrying no useless timber, standing naturally straight and firm. The deep, moderately wide chest shows strength, the sloping shoulders and well-bent hocks indicate speed and grace, and the face shows high intelligence. General character. The collie presents an impressive, proud picture of true balance, each part being in harmonious proportion to every other part into the whole, except for the technical description that is essential to the standard, and without which no standard for the guidance of breeders and judges is adequate. It could be stated simply that no part of the collie ever seems to be out of proportion to any other part. Timidity, frailness, sullenness, viciousness, lack of animation, cumbersome appearance, and lack of overall balance impair the general character. Head. The head properties are of great importance. When considered in proportion to the size of the dog, the head is inclined to lightness and never appears massive. A heavy-headed dog lacks the necessary bright, alert, full-of-sense look that contributes so greatly to expression. Both in front and profile view, the head bears a general resemblance to a well-blunted lean wedge, being smooth and clean in outline and nicely balanced in proportion. On the sides, it tapers gradually and smoothly, from the ears to the end of the black nose, without being flared out in back skull, cheeky, or pinched in muzzle, snipey. In profile view, the top of the back skull and the top of the muzzle lie into two approximately parallel straight planes of equal length, divided by a very slight but perceptible stop or break. A midpoint between the inside corners of the eyes, which is the center of a correctly placed stop, is the center of balance and length of head. The end of a smooth, well-rounded muzzle is blunt but not square. The underjaw is strong, clean-cut, and the depth of skull from the brow to the underpart of the jaw is not excessive. The teeth are of good size, meeting in a scissors bite. Overshot or undershot jaws are undesirable, the latter being more severely panelized. There is a slight prominence of the eyebrows. The back skull is flat, without receding either laterally or backward, and the occipital bone is not highly peaked. The proper width of back skull necessarily depends upon the combined length of skull and muzzle, and the width of the back skull is less than its length. Thus, the correct width varies with the individual and is dependent upon the extent to which it is supported by length of muzzle. Because of the importance of the head characteristics, prominent head faults are very severely penalized. Eyes and expression. Because of the combination of the flat skull, the arched eyebrows, the slight stop, and the rounded muzzle, the foreface must be chiseled to form a receptacle for the eyes, and they are necessarily placed obliquely to give them their required forward outlook. The eyes are placed obliquely to give them the required forward outlook. Using the clock to cover a collie head, the occipital crest will be at noon and the nose at 6. The correctly placed eye will have the lower lid slanting toward an imaginary point approximating the outside base of the ear, which will represent 10 and 2 on the clock. Except for blue merles, they are required to be matched in color. They are almond-shaped, of medium size, and never properly appear to be large or prominent. The color is dark, and the eye does not show a yellow ring or a sufficiently prominent haw to affect the dog's expression. The eyes have a clear, bright appearance, expressing intelligent inquisitiveness, particularly when the ears are drawn up and the dog is on alert. In blue merles, dark brown eyes are preferable, but either or both eyes may be merle or china in color without specific penalty. A large, round, full eye seriously detracts from the desired sweet expression. Eye faults are heavily penalized. Expression is one of the most important points in considering the relative value of collies. Expression, like the term character, is difficult to define in words. It is not a fixed point as in color, weight, or height, and it is something the uninitiated can properly understand only by optical illustration. In general, however, it may be said to be the combined product of the shape and balance of the skull and muzzle, the placement, size, shape, and color of the eyes, and the position, size, and carriage of the ears. An expression that shows sullenness or which is suggestive of any other breed is entirely foreign. The collie cannot be judged properly until its expression has been carefully evaluated. Structure. The neck is firm, clean, muscular, sinewy, and heavily frilled. It is fairly long, carried upright with a slight arch at the nape, and imparts a proud, upstanding appearance showing off the frill. The body is firm, hard, and muscular, a trifle long in proportion height. The ribs are well rounded behind the well-sloped shoulders, and the chest is deep, extending to the elbows. The back is strong and level, supported by powerful hips and thigh, and the croup is sloped to give a well-rounded finish. The loin is powerful and slightly arched. The forelegs are straight and muscular, with a fair amount of bone considering the size of the dog. A cumbersome appearance is undesirable. Both narrow and wide placement are penalized. The forearm is moderately fleshy, and the pasterns are flexible but without weakness. The hind legs are less fleshy, muscular at the thighs, very sinewy, and the hocks and stifles are well bent. The comparatively small feet are approximately oval in shape. Gait. Gait is sound. When the dog is moved at a slow trot toward an observer, its straight front legs track comparatively close together at the ground. The front legs are not out at the elbows, do not cross over, nor does the dog move with a choppy, pacing, or rolling gait. When viewed from the rear, the hind legs are straight, tracking comparatively close together at the ground. At a moderate trot, the hind legs are powerful and propelling. Viewed from the side, the reasonably long, reaching stride is smooth and even, keeping the backline firm and level. As the speed of the gait is increased, the collie single tracks, bringing the front legs inward in a straight line from the shoulder toward the center line of the body, and the hind legs inward in a straight line from the hip toward the center line of the body. The gait suggests effortless speed combined with the dog's herding heritage, requiring it to be capable of changing its direction of travel almost instantaneously. Tail. The tail is moderately long, the bone reaching to the hock joint or below. It is carried low when the dog is quiet, the end having an upward twist or swirl. When gaited or when the dog is excited, it is carried gaily, but not over the back. Correct tail carriage, correctly set and of good length. Although the fourth dog appears to be carrying its tail too high, it is not over the dotted line, and therefore acceptable. Tails carried too high and over the back. When judging the collie, an overview. Size, dogs. 24 inches to 26 inches at shoulder, bitches. 22 inches to 24 inches at shoulder. Coat. The rough coat is abundant with well-fitting, harsh, straight outer coat and dense undercoat. The smooth variety has a short, hard, flat coat with dense undercoat. Ears drawn up on back skull. 3/4 erect, 1/4 tipping. Prick or low ears cannot show true expression. The Collie Standard recognizes 4 colors: sable and white, tricolor, blue merle, and white. Sable merles appear sable, but may exhibit varying degrees of the merling pattern. Quality, rather than color or pattern, is of foremost importance in judging the collie. The standard's emphasis on overall balance, head properties, and expression is clear and should always take precedence over color. Ideally, the sable merle should have dark eyes matched in color. If the eyes are not dark and matched in color, the sable merle should be penalized, not excused or disqualified, to the degree that the expression is affected. The standard states, expression is one of the most important points in considering the relative value of collies, and the collie cannot be judged properly until its expression has been carefully evaluated. It further states, eye faults are heavily penalized. Clarification: various shades of sable. The sable and white is predominantly sable. A fawn sable color of varying shades from light gold to dark mahogany. There are no disqualifications in collies, including coat color. Temperament. The collie presents a proud picture, and its face shows high intelligence. Timidity, sullenness, and viciousness are not part of the collie character. Smooth variety. The smooth variety of the collie is judged by the same standard as the rough variety, except that the references to the quantity and distribution of the coat are not applicable to the smooth variety, which has a short, hard, dense, flat coat of good texture with an abundance of undercoat. Blue merles. Facial markings. Inconsistent facial markings are acceptable on the blue merle. The collie is a gentle breed. Please examine them with a soft hand. No disqualifications, except those mandated by the AKC. Always remember, the collie presents an impressive, proud picture of true balance. Head qualities and expression are of great importance.
This concludes our presentation on the Collie Standard. Thank you for your participation in this Collie Club of America Judges Education Seminar.